Posse, Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Podcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tim Grossi, and Sunday Night Football, baby. Prime time. As a Green Bay Packers fan in New York, I have struggled the past 2 weeks having to stream it on NFL Sunday Ticket, getting my touchdown spoiled in the chat as I stream it. But nay, we're live this Sunday, baby. We're live. And to help us bring in this monumental game, I sought out a guest that I knew would tower over the rest easily. He is a trained NFL scout, Jedi, may have made that up, but that's fine. He's a film analyst for The Athletic. We got Deuce. Deuce, thank you for coming on, buddy.
Thank you for the energy. I appreciate it. I mean, it's been a rainy day, so I'm kind of feeling down, feeling a little dreary, feeling morose, and I'm glad that you were here to lift my spirits.
That's it, baby. I'll be your lightning and your rain cloud. That's it.
Oh, it's going to be quite a combo we're having today. I can already feel it.
Oh, it's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait. I mean, it started off just with the amazing hat selection, and honestly, it's going to keep on going to the moon here. But no, I appreciate you coming on, and I'm really excited for this game upcoming on Sunday. It's Sunday Night Football. You know, there's always that little extra in your chest. You're like, ooh. When you hear the Sunday night theme, I mean, the other one was better, but when you hear it, you're just like, yeah, it's good. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you have a preference?
Wait, should we go like change? Not even say it's versus Packers. Should we talk best Sunday Night Football theme?
I mean, I got
podcast
all day,
episode.
I got all day.
Podcast episode. I'll be honest. I'm not a fan of really any of the. Even though I am, you'll find out that I'm really big on analytics. I'm really big on film. Very new age football. When it comes to like the things I like to hear, I want old school as possible.
Ooh.
Like I love like popping the VHS tape of the NFL highlights in that old deep voice. Da, 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 da. That's what I want.
I feel it. All right, so you get the little nostalgia kick too, right? I get it. Okay. All right. I pick up what you're throwing down. So that being said, Monday Night Football theme. I mean, like, where are we with that one? Are we because when did
the best thing about Monday Night Football is that they brought back the gold jackets. That was cool. That was good. I like that. The nostalgia feel. I actually want that. I want that nostalgia feel from my color commentary and my analyst. I want you to know what you're talking about, but I also want to have that like. It's like I missed the whoops. Yep. From Sports Center for so long until it came back.
Give me Chris Berman all day, every day.
Yes.
All day, every day. Like, I still can't say the Raiders without going, the Raiders, every single time.
Exactly.
Like, there's something about that, like, as a 90s kid, like, waking up right before I'm about to go to school and Sports Center is on and I'm watching, like, the top 10 and Chris Berman's giving me the woos. And I'm just like, yes.
Yep.
But those were the golden age, baby. That was the golden age.
Yeah, well, it's been great to have it back a little bit. Yeah, and that was the show. So I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I appreciate you coming on. This has been really, really great. Tell people where they can find you. So, all right, Deuce. It's seldom that I have a Saints fan on because I feel like our teams, they don't play very often, right?
About every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, right. Like it
depending on how they're doing.
Yeah, it's like the 2-3 years, right, or every 4 years, whatever. Like, you know, when they're making their rounds around the NFC South. But I will say, when we do meet up, the games are usually pretty damn exciting. They're usually pretty damn good. And
it helps the quarterbacks that have been pretty decent in that recent time frame.
They've been okay. I mean, like, yeah, they've been all right. They've been okay. So I have so many questions for you when it comes to the Saints. But I think I'm going to start off talking about Drew Brees. So Drew Brees has, if I may make this comparison, I feel like there's a similar narrative between him and Aaron Rodgers in that they both have one ring and they should have more. That's the comparison that I have for you because I get that every day. So I'm curious, as someone, obviously, who's a massive Saints fan, as someone who's studied Drew Brees and studying the team, do you agree with that analysis of like, yeah, we should have had more because I
do believe the team should have more and that Drew deserves to be part of those teams. But I'm also one of those very quarterbacks. I don't do quarterback wins. I don't do quarterback Super Bowls. I'm sorry because and this isn't like Tom. Like Tom Brady's a great example. I think Tom Brady is one of the greatest of all time, but he's also averaged basically a top 10 defense his entire career. That helps. It's a 3-part, melting pot to get to the Super Bowl. And while Aaron Rodgers hasn't struggled defensively like Drew has in the past 15 years, yes, it's been bad, but what Drew's had has been worse.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, what Aaron Rodgers has been bad, but we're talking about the Saints literally having, I'm not exaggerating, one of the worst defenses of all time. Multiple times. Not just once, several times. I think in the past 15 years, the defense has been top 10 3 times in 15 years. And it's averaged like 24 or 25. Yeah. I mean, it's really bad. And obviously there's been some really bad defensive woes when McCarthy was there and everything. And I'm not trying to say that, Green Bay hasn't had that problem. But I do also struggle with the Rodgers to Brees comparison because Brees is the physically not as talented as everybody else, but works hard enough to do it. And Aaron Rodgers is, if he actually played to his potential every game, would be the best quarterback to ever play, but doesn't do it. He's like Jay Cutler on steroids. He is by far like one of the best, besides like Patrick Mahomes now, physically talented quarterbacks I've ever seen. And he will single-handedly lazy himself through seasons and play terrible. No offense, Green Bay Packers fans. It's just true. That man should average like a 130 quarterback rating every game. He doesn't, though.
So we put the whole onus on him because, listen,
it's not the whole thing, but come on. I mean, y'all have watched Aaron Rodgers lazily throw the ball out of bounds for no reason when he could make a window throw. I mean, come on. We know but I'm only coming at him like that because he's so talented. I mean, I don't come after Tyrod Taylor like this. It's because it's Aaron Rodgers.
Poor guy has a punctured lung. He's been through enough.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
But that's always a tough one for me because Drew has basically earned his I'm up there with the greats, even though he's not that talented physically.
I see.
Whereas Aaron Rodgers, he should be better than he is, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Okay. Because the thing that I get a lot, and Packers fans have been dealing this for years, of the Green Bay Packers have wasted Aaron Rodgers. I get that narrative all day, every day, literally. And
now be a Saints fan.
Yeah, exactly. And I look at the Saints and I say, you look at Drew Brees and the teams that, granted, again, talking about defenses, we've had some pretty rough years, and the teams that have been put around them and how many times that the offense has done its job only for the defense to let them down and it turns into a fireball of terribleness. And I look at it from that standpoint and I completely am 100% so happy that you said QB wins are not a stat, right? That's not a thing because it's a team game. There's more than one person on the field. So I feel like for you in the twilight, I'll say of Drew Brees' career, right? As Rodgers say on the back 9. How are you
on the back 2?
Yeah, we're in the final 2. If it's
we're at the Tiger Woods stage. We're we want him to surprise us by winning a championship. Wait, you can still do that?
I mean, listen, you could always go the Denver route, and Brees can come back next year, just build a really good defense, and drag his carcass all the way there.
That's what they're trying to do this year. It just didn't go that well on Monday night.
So that's what I'm kind of getting at. What are your expectations heading into this season? Because it is only week 2. I'm not ready to, blow any narratives of this is the entire Saints team. What are your expectations coming into this season? Are you looking at them of this is kind of the last dance? How do you see the Saints unfolding this year and how you think they're going to perform?
Well, it's not just me; it's the Saints themselves. I mean, you talk to the players; it's Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah.
I mean, Drew was contemplating retirement hard. He's actually done it for several years. You go back to the final 7-9 season we had. That offseason, he actually contemplated retirement, and that was 2016. So after 2016, it was look, man, I'm tired of losing. We're sucking. I don't know if I really want to keep doing this. And then 2017 happens. All the rookies come in. The team resurges to 11 wins, and he's you know what? We'll keep going. So that's where we're at. And then you had the, talks. It was rumors, but now it's been confirmed multiple times that Tom Brady wanted to come to New Orleans until Brees was whoa, hold on.
Hold on just a
second. Still my team. So you have all this in mind. I don't think anybody doubts that this is Drew's last year. And, for all the narratives being thrown around about his arm strength, those of us who've been covering film and stuff in New Orleans have been like, where were you in 2017 when this started? Like, Drew has struggled to throw past 35 yards with accuracy since Brandon Cooks left. And that's not because Brandon Cooks left. It's just because he's 40 years old.
Yes.
You know who doesn't do it that well either? Brady. He does a little bit better than Drew, but you get 40-something years old and your deep ball accuracy dwindles. It doesn't mean you can't throw at 50. It means that it might no longer be right over the shoulder like A-Rod or Mahomes or Russell Wilson can do right now.
Yeah.
So you have to change the game and how you play. So, this is definitely the ride or die. Like, this has got to be the year. And then next year we just see, well, who knows? We'll see what happens.
Wait, we just throw it up. Because, you know what fascinates me too, right? So, you got Jameis Winston, who I love that. I am all aboard that. Because, Jameis Winston, listen, he reminds me so much of Favre in the way that he, the guy has a cannon of an arm, can literally be I am going, I feel like he looks at his team and is like, I am going to be the reason you win or lose this football game. Yeah. And there was very little in between, right? And I think, for him to be able to sit behind Brees and learn, I'm all about that. Yeah. But at the same time, from your standpoint, because then you have Taysom Hill, who, from an outsider, I have people going because he was on the Packers, right? He was. And everyone gets on my case of well, we shouldn't have let Taysom Hill go. And I look at it and I'm like, he doesn't throw the ball. And there was a lot of hype around Taysom Hill. So if we're looking at this as the last dance and we're looking at next year as part deux or a do-over, a renewal, a renaissance, if you will, who's the guy? Is it Taysom Hill or is it Jameis Winston?
Right now, if Drew Brees didn't exist, it'd be Taysom Hill. But there's also been no OTAs. Taysom has improved greatly as a passer in 3 years. And to the point where when he was in Green Bay, things like full field reads were not his thing. He was limited to half field reads and maybe layer concepts where there's one or two targets. He progressed through one or two. If that is not there, then run. Now he's to the point where he can actually do a full 4 to 5 man route read across the field. Yeah. He's gotten to that point. And I'm not saying that he's going to, if he starts next year, everybody's going to be shocked. Oh my God, he's a top 10. I don't know that. But I will say that as a quarterback, he has actually improved a good deal. Being with Drew Brees and Sean Payton for 3 years is obviously going to help that. And, you saw what they did with Teddy Bridgewater last year, 5-0 with Teddy. And that's not to knock Teddy, but nobody's going to put Teddy on the higher echelon of quarterbacks, yet he had, a pretty nice string for not having started for 3 years. And that was with the offense. So, I think Taysom could come in and be a competent player. And he also adds a bit of, levity to the situation because it's kind of funny to see a running quarterback that's he to me is a throwback from 1950s football. Bring back the wing tee and let Taysom run it. But truthfully, he has improved as a quarterback, and it's gonna be interesting to see. But I still call him tight end number 2. Yeah, he is one of the best receivers that you don't know about in the game. They don't use him enough. Yeah, he's consistently a dominant playmaker as a receiver and as a runner. He just gets 5 touches a game.
Yeah, I love how they utilize him too. Because it is unexpected, right? I agree that they don't utilize him a ton, but the way that they, either even it's just emotion or whether he's just lining up on a completely different side of the field. I love that he literally can line up anywhere. And I'm just yeah, okay, cool. The defense has to be oh shit, he's back on the field again. Okay. Yeah. Because I will say that this has also brought in another avalanche of questions because when the Green Bay Packers drafted Jordan Love in the 2020 draft, the number one question by far, besides what the hell are we doing? The number one question was, are we going to use Jordan Love like they use Taysom Hill? And I looked at that and I was like, that's a weird question. No, of course not. No. And then they kept coming and coming and coming to the point where I literally had to go, no. We're not going to do that. He's going to sit on the bench and learn some football.
You know what you do? You do that if you draft a quarterback in the 7th round.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry. And I'm not to be a hater here if if that's what you envisioned him being. But when I saw that, my first thought was consistency for the man that's number 1. Make him be consistent. Hey, dude, if you don't shape up, we know you can win 16 games by yourself. Yeah. Either do it, or we find somebody who could be consistently good, better than occasionally great.
Ooh. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
I like the hot, fiery takes that are raining down right now.
And they're not even meant to be hot takes. It's just, I mean, if you really look, if you step away as a Packers fan and really look at Aaron Rodgers' talent versus his career, there's way too many games that make you go, he could have done so much better.
Now,
defense still cost him plenty.
Sure.
Coaching is debatable. Sure.
Sure.
But I see Aaron Rodgers as a world-class talent at quarterback.
Okay.
So I expect world-class results.
But at the same time, if we're talking about that, wins aren't a QB stat.
They're not, right? But I'm not just talking about. I'm
talking
just about
overall play.
Yeah, I'm talking about, look, and if you want to use analytics, use analytics. Look at completion percentage above expectation. Look at EPA. Look at, hell, just look at fourth quarter, game-winning drives, which Drew Brees has the most blown game-winning drives of any quarterback ever. Look at all that for him, and then look at how he leads the league and when he leads the league. He leads the league in key stats very rarely. He's actually only led the league in QBR once. Aaron Rodgers has led the league in QBR once. He's led the league in QB rating twice. I see Aaron Rodgers as the guy who should be fighting for that every single year. And he still has some fantastic years. I'm not saying he doesn't. Sure. When I see Aaron Rodgers hit his best, like a 2011, even 2014, even last year was a really good year, just not as good as TD numbers that you would probably hope for.
Sure.
I want to see him be that all the time. Like with Drew Brees has been Drew Brees all the time. He's the gunslinger who's the most accurate gunslinger of all time.
Yeah.
He's going to throw double-digit interceptions, but he's also going to be the most accurate quarterback in the league. He's also going to throw 30 TDs. Yeah. He is what he is, and he's consistent about it. A-Rod's not consistent.
His accuracy, too, ranks 70%, constantly, right? It's pretty damn consistent.
And A-Rod's not. A-Rod might be 63 one year. He might be 69 the next. He's all over the place.
So would you put that then on Aaron Rodgers? And I know we're not the onus on him solely, but what I mean is that the narrative that goes around, and I debunked this narrative because it's stupid, of just I think he's thrown one touchdown or something to a first rounder, something like that. And it was it's some stupid crap. And I was like, that's stupid because you have Devontae Adams, you have Jordy Nelson, you have Randall Cobb, plenty of great second round talent that you can get there. I don't care about that. But I think at some point the way, and we can get into this, the idea of Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy, right? You look at the 2010 season. Yeah. We'll go way back. The 2010 season, they win the Super Bowl that year. Yeah, that's going way back. Because there really is a narrative there. Because 2010, we have an amazing defense that gets injured, but they are ball hawks. They're constantly around the ball. They do really, really well. Rodgers is playing some damn good football as well. Then you have 2011, in which a lot of those defensive stars leave. They get injured. You have a Nick Collins goes, Charles Woodson, he's on his way out. Jermichael Finley eventually gets hurt, and that takes away a big weapon for him. But that offense is still amazing, right? They go 15-1, what have you. And then I feel for a while, you're right with the 2012, 2013 years. They're not bad. Obviously, we're still in contention, what have you. But I feel there's also so much missing from the rest of that team. The offense remains relatively intact without a run game, because we never replaced Ryan Grant until Eddie Lacy, and then Eddie Lacy drops off, and then we have Ty Montgomery back there. James Starks is back there for a while. We messed around with that. And I feel with Rodgers, though, there have been very few years where he's had a team around him where he doesn't have to do it all himself. And I feel 2016 is a perfect example of that. Because the run the table year, that's Aaron Rodgers. If you're talking about seeing as close to perfection as you can get, that's Aaron Rodgers. He literally willed that team to the playoffs, to the NFC Championship game, and then got blown the hell out in the NFC Championship game.
MVP level play. I agree.
Yeah.
But that's what I expect every year.
Can you though?
Yes. I know these people are human. Yeah. But you look at other great quarterbacks. Look at Brady. Look at Brees. Look at his people he's played side by side with. Consistency. Yeah. Even when Brees had the worst defense in the NFL, he was still the same statistically he always is. One thing that I love about Rodgers is when he's at his peak, you look at 16, you look at 2011, 9% of his 2011 passes were TDs. That's stupid. Drew Brees' highest in his career is 7%, and he's done it once.
Yeah.
Rodgers has done it like 5 times.
Yeah.
So when Rodgers is at his height, at his peak, when he is confident in himself, like when he is the biggest narcissist to rival only the Cheeto that's in office, sorry, political comment, he is the best player in the game. But I expect you to be the best every year until you hit a point where you fall off.
Yeah. And it's fascinating because, like, the narrative became, like, about McCarthy, right? And, like, how McCarthy basically, and I talked about this with, like, Ryan Grant, like, handed Rodgers the keys. Yeah. And he was like, here you go. And then was surprised when he just did everything himself. Like, because there was a few years where it literally was just Aaron Rodgers. And when Aaron Rodgers went down, that team did not do well. Like, that team just sucked. And there was plenty of years that Aaron Rodgers made us look a lot better than we actually were. I would say 2016 is one of those years. And I feel like you bring up last year, in which for one of the first times, we have a great running offense, right? Aaron Jones is a freaking monster. We have a more competent defense in the sense of, like, our run defense is still garbage, but, like, the passing defense, you know, getting after the quarterback, the QB pressures, Za'Darius and Preston Smith are amazing. Secondary is pretty good and healthy. I feel like when it comes to consistency, it's almost not as needed from Aaron Rodgers anymore, because for the first time in his career since, like, 2010, maybe arguably 2014 and last year, it's not
Here's the thing
on him, but you want to see it on him.
It's
more.
not needed if you want him and the Green Bay Packers to just continue having good seasons. I always look at it from the paradigm of what makes this team a Super Bowl champion. Ooh. You know what makes the Packers a Super Bowl champion? Aaron Rodgers playing out of his freaking mind. It doesn't matter if the defense is great. You do have to have a helping defense. But a middling Aaron Rodgers, an Aaron Rodgers who is just kind of coasting through, who's not doing bad, but he's just kind of there. Like a 2010. You can even go to like 13, where he's just being there. Not a Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers. It's a playoff Green Bay Packers.
You wait, 2010?
Yeah, like going back to his sophomore season, essentially.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah, because 2010 when we won the bowl, and then you're talking about, like, so you're talking 09, like when he was going after, like,
09. Warner. 09. So my Packers numbers are not going to be as spot on year wise as yours are.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No. I was like, wait, no, we did win, because, like, the thing I point to is, like, I knew.
Keep in mind, I'm only coming from I expect this because I see Aaron Rodgers as should be the best quarterback. It's not like I treat everybody like this. Like, I'm not looking at Jared Goff going, dude, listen, what are you doing? Yeah, it's like I'm looking at Sean McVay going, dude, what are you doing? I look at Aaron Rodgers and I see the potential for literally the best quarterback ever. So because of that, I hold him to a way higher standard.
That makes sense. Listen, I'm not hating. Absolutely not. Yeah. And that's the thing, too.
Packers fans are going like, what is with this guy?
They're, like, flipping desks right now. They're like, jump down his throat, Tom.
But am I lying? Truthfully, as a Packers fan, do you not see Aaron Rodgers as a guy who can single-handedly take you to the conference finals like he's done?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Because if he can do that single-handedly, then he should be able to, with a good team, win a Super Bowl. If we're looking at it from a very generic black and white.
Yeah, I feel like if we're –
But you get what I'm saying from –
I understand what you're saying.
When he's playing at his pinnacle, and I think he started off the season, getting his second year with Matt Lafleur this year, he's hitting that pinnacle with a good team. Aaron Rodgers is a Super Bowl MVP, year-long MVP type player.
Yeah.
I just think he should do that every year, not every 3 years.
I get you. Because, like, you know, obviously it's tough, too, because, like, 2017, he gets injured, you know, after the Minnesota game, so that's gone, right? 2018, he's hurt from week 1, and he, like, you know, that was, like, one of the first – I think that was the first season besides, like, you know, 2008, where he was our starter for every game, and yet we still didn't make the playoffs, right? Because, like, he's playing hurt.
That was a struggle. He only threw, like, 24 touchdowns that year.
Yeah, it was, like, it was something like that.
The team wasn't very good.
No, they weren't.
But – like, I realize that you have a lot of those scenarios, but let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
We're both not Patriots fans, but we both are, I feel, pragmatic enough to look at Tom Brady as one of the greatest ever.
100%.
Should Tom Brady have as many more MVPs over Aaron Rodgers that he does?
I think Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback.
I do too.
Yeah. I got into a lot of fights about this. Like, I think that's probably my most disliked video that I put out, like, 3 years ago.
I mean, if you're building a super team, and you look at it from a talent perspective, only talent.
Yes.
Which quarterback would you rather have?
Yeah, it's Aaron Rodgers all day.
A prime actually doing amazing Aaron Rodgers or a prime doing amazing Tom Brady? You take Aaron Rodgers.
And I think, like, you know, you touched on this before, which I got into this conversation literally with Zach Schomler yesterday, and talking about systems, right? And systems that you create. You talk about Taysom Hill, how he is in this system, right, with Sean Payton and Drew Brees. And so because of that, he is able to improve, right? You look at a Patriots system, which arguably is like one of the most consistent, stables, and great systems that there are in the league. And I think I just find it so fascinating that you have a Jimmy Garoppolo, right? You have a Matt Castle, you have a Tom Brady, and now a Cam Newton who can go into that system and succeed. That to me is fascinating. And Tom Brady, by the way, himself has said if Rodgers was playing on the Patriots in that system, he would have like 9 Super Bowl rings. And I don't necessarily disagree with him.
Yeah.
But for you, as someone who is, you know, a scout analyzing film, how much do you put into a system over a player? You know, what do you think plays a bigger role in an overall, like, career or overall success?
For a player that lasts, say, a decade more in the league, that is player. Most players entering the league can be schemed into having good games or even having good short careers.
Sure.
If a player has a long career, that means he's generally going to be scheme universal. And he's talented enough to continue playing no matter what he's going through. I mean, and there's some, of course, there are those players who spend 10 years on one team. But, I mean, look at a Frank Gore. Frank Gore, and never in his point in his career at any time has been the best running back in any given year. But he's still one of the best running backs of all time because he's played and dominated in multiple systems and has still managed to play today. Adrian Peterson is one of the greatest of all time, but is still the same way. The dude is still averaging like 6 yards a carry right now with the Detroit freaking Lions. Offensive line made of paper mache and a couple of tripods. I mean, so all of it, no offense, Detroit Lions, you're a little bit better than that. I'm sorry. But I mean, all of this in mind, I mean, so you look at the players, specifically you look at what they do well, and you kind of equate that to almost a number value. You know, a good, best, great, that type of thing, or 1 through 10 scaling. You look at a guy like Rodgers, he's probably going to have an 8 to a 10 on his rankings on every category, whether it be arm strength, whether it be mental processing, you know, play strength, the ability to fight through injuries, things like that. Even though he's had some gruesome injuries and missed time, I still think his play strength and, you know, his ability to fight through contact and his ability to play on the field through hurt is really high. You know, great respect for all that and everything. So, I mean, as a scout and everything, when you look at a player like Rodgers, it's player. Then you look at other guys, it is scheme. Depends on what it is. I mean, there are some players who are even great players who are very scheme-specific players. And you look at Michael Thomas. He is one of the best receivers in the NFL, but he is a dominant West Coast split end. If you asked him to run an Air Coryell vertical system, he could do it, but would he still be the most dominant receiver in the NFL? Probably not. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins and Thomas both run the exact same 40. They can both be dominant downfield. But are they ever going to be better at a downfield pass than Julio Jones? Probably not. It's just a different style of receiver. They're still great, but that's where scheme comes into great players. So how does it maximize them? You know, you look at Tom Brady. One thing I'm planning to watch this year is how well does he mesh with Bruce Arians, because he has played his entire career running the Erhardt-Perkins system with Bill Belichick. How does he adjust to a system that is notorious for first-year quarterbacks being turnover heavy? And I'm pretty sure, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, a completely different verbiage that Arians runs from Bill Belichick. He does not run the Erhardt-Perkins play calling system.
I'm pretty sure it's different,
So, and for all those wondering what I'm talking about, there are 3 main ones. You've got the Erhardt, you've got the West Coast, you've got Coryell. It's like West Coast verbiage, you know, spider 2Y banana, and then you have like Sean McVay, who runs a very condensed play calling system. So all of that actually matters. I mean, if you actually watch some of my favorite NFL things to watch are like training camp videos of teams where coaches are eviscerating their quarterbacks because they can't get play calling right, because especially West Coast coaches, because they'll be giving them like a paragraph with the most complex, like 300 syllable play calls and like, why can't you call this play? Dude, I got here 2 months ago.
It's like this is like literally my master's thesis that you're asking me to call like before. And it's funny you bring that up too. And Packers fans should be aware of that, because when Lafleur came in, Rodgers had plenty of interviews and he's just like, I don't I don't know. Like, because it's so different. He was under McCarthy for so long, and Lafleur comes in and completely changes it. And he's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get all of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big change when you spend 10 years in one thing and then like, hold up, calm down. Look at this. What do you think? Well, you better like it because you're running it.
Because this is what we're doing now. And we talked about it, how, Lafleur coming in, I think, it's kind of like common now, but like the Packers overachieved last year. And what I mean by that is like, Lafleur coming in, a lot of the times when they were down or their backs were against the wall, they regressed to the Mike McCarthy play style, which is sometimes that worked, and sometimes they got kicked in the teeth.
I mean, because it's like, for example, you fans listen out there, and this is not meant to demean any fans' football knowledge, but if I say right now, jump Falcon, right nasty, nose alt slide, 36 base kill, 322 sticky Oscar, do you know what the heck I just said?
Gotcha. Hold on.
That and what I just rattled off, that's one of the kill calls from the 2015 Saints playbook. But do most people know what any of that means?
No.
That was one verbiage run.
Yeah.
But what I did is I just told you the blocking assignment. I told you the route combinations. I told you everything this team is running. I told you the steps that the Oscar, which is going to be your split, your flanker receiver, is going to run before his break. So all of that matters. And when you completely change everything you just did, it takes time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Like, and you just mentioned this before, like the fact that it's now year 2, that Rodgers just gets to like sit down and be like, okay, let's do it again. Like, let's go through it again. Let's go through the progression, like the previous. And I think you see that on the field, right? And I think, obviously, again, it's just 2 weeks. We're not going to overblow anything. But, Rodgers, and maybe to this point, you talk about his risk-taking downfield now. Like, he seems to be more confident in the deep ball, whereas of last year and the past 2 years, it really was seldom, right? It wasn't happening a whole lot. And I think, that just that familiarity is there, at least a lot more than it was last year.
100%.
Like you were saying, like that makes a big, big deal.
It is. And it was funny, you were coming into this year, and y'all had the same way, so y'all don't come at me for doubting. But everybody was like, are the Packers receivers going to be good enough? Like, can Alan Lazard take us all the way? I think Allen's already got like 100 yards receiving, so he's doing well. But, Devontae Adams being a key cog of that. But that goes back to what I see in terms of what I see in Aaron Rodgers, which I see a quarterback who can elevate receiver play when he's playing at a high level and when he's dominating the system he's in, which is what he's doing now.
Yeah.
He can make Alan Lazard look like a good, great receiver, whether or not he is or not. I'm just throwing out the name because he's
sure.
I could be saying the same thing about Jamal Williams.
Jamal MVS. Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah.
So all of that in mind, I think that the offensively, you should see the Packers contend for being the best offense in the NFL this year. The question with the Packers is not going to be the offense. It's the defense.
Yeah.
Especially the front seven, which I think is not – of the teams that I consider Super Bowl contenders, they probably have the weakest front seven in the NFL. Of the Super Bowl contenders.
Mm-hmm. See, the problem is like, again, you have a guy like Kenny Clark, right, who's amazing. I think Kenny Clark is phenomenal, one of the best nose tackles in the league. Mm-hmm. And, with Kenny being out, he missed this past Sunday. I was like, oh, crap, because then you rely on guys like Dean Lowry, Tyler Lancaster, Montravius Adams is hurt, Kingsley Keke. Like, these aren't household names for basically anyone unless you're a Packers fan.
The biggest name I actually like on that list is Zadarius Smith. I'm expecting.
Oh, I love Z.
I love Zadarius Smith. But, like you said, even with some of those names, I still might like a piece or two. But do I like it as much as, say, just a few years ago when it was Mike Daniels in his prime and Clay was still pretty good? And nope, I prefer that a few years ago. So
I think what's going to be the make or break for that front seven is you have obviously the Smith brothers who did really, really well last year. Like they were phenomenal last year. Nice. Yeah, they're not related, but it's great. The Smith brothers. But then you have Rashawn Gary, who, 12th overall pick last year, didn't get a ton of playing time because, one, he was transitioning. He played more defensive end. He's going to outside linebacker. You have that, and everyone's calling him a bust. If he is able to do well, which he has played very well in these past 2 weeks, he did really well this past Sunday. I think got a sack and a half, got a few QB pressures. If he's able to play really well, I think that's going to be one of the keys to if that defense is going to take that next step. Because a lot of people are worrying about the run defense, and rightfully so. because
there's one advantage the Saints have Sunday night. Should be running the football.
And that's the thing. I'm not as concerned with like Drew Brees. I'm worried about Kamara and Latavius Murray. Like Murray, I'm worried about both of those guys more than I am Drew Brees. And that's not a knock on Drew Brees, but I'm looking at it as like our secondary is pretty solid. I mean,
Kevin King and Jari Alexander. I think it might be the most under-talked duo in the NFL. Just to give props. And I love Jari because he chirps so much.
Oh, I love it.
Love that.
And what I love about Jari, like he hits people. Like he's one of those guys, like he will destroy it. But what I
don't know if he's still playing at 30 years old, but right now he's really freaking good.
Like, wait, Jair?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just because of how physical he is.
If he's playing, yes. Oh, I know. I
he's going to knock himself onto the bench or something. If he don't
he's like, well, it was a good time while we had it. The thing that stands out to me is like Kevin King for years. Packers fans hated him because he was a second round pick. He was always injured. He was never on the field. And when he was on the field, he was the guy who was running to catch up to the receiver. But last year, he came on, especially near that end of the season. He came on strong. And I think that, with both of them, yes, they are definitely undervalued and not talked about enough. And then you go back to the safeties, too. Savage had a great rookie season last year. And you have Amos, who I'm a big fan of.
Yeah. Amos is good. Savage has one of the best safety names in the league. So that helps.
Having a good give him number 21, but they didn't. Really they were going to give him jersey number 21, and it'd be 21 Savage. And I was like, you did it. Like this, it's perfect. And then they didn't. And I was like,
the people making those decisions wouldn't have caught that reference anyway. So
no, definitely not.
The team would have dude, I can't imagine the team TikToks over that. That would have been hilarious. But yeah, I mean, secondary, I think that there's a great young group in the secondary.
Yeah.
For Green Bay. It's just, like I said, it goes back to the front seven, which actually plays in the Saints' hands because what are they dominant at right now? The short game, whether it's passing or running.
Yes.
Screen plays, short crossing patterns, running mesh concepts to force rub routes over the middle of the field that are really going to trouble the linebackers and the nickel back. The Saints have a huge advantage there, even without Michael Thomas.
Yes.
So while I do think that, Green Bay could easily shut down deep threats like Marquise Callaway, who's, our young deep threat, or Traquan Smith, you probably can. Good thing that's not where our bread and butter is.
Correct.
So that's what's going to make the matchup so interesting is how the defense is built would actually be great if you're going against Kansas City. It's not built great going against New Orleans. So,
yeah. And I got to say, like, one of the biggest concerns I have for Sunday is, like, Jared Cook, right? Yeah. Because, like, the Packers, they struggle against tight ends. Hawkinson had a good game. Didn't have an amazing game, but had a good game. Like, I look at how you guys struggled, like, with Waller. I'm looking at that with Jared Cook of, like, crap. Like I hope it's not that again. Because again, it comes down to especially those inside linebackers. You have Kirksey who's back there, who's brand new to the system. And then we have a bunch of like just young guys back there with not a lot of experience. And it's a little terrifying. But with all that in mind, I mean, what are you looking at, when it comes to Saints versus Packers, and what's going to stand out to you as of like what's going to push one team over the edge over another?
The easiest way I handle matchups is I start with player talent versus player talent.
Ooh.
And then I move to scheme. So, like, for example, I'll look at the offensive line, and I look, is there anybody who can directly take on, starting with the strongest points, Armstead and Ramczyk? While I do think Zadarius Smith is tremendous, he's best attacking inside. So I'm going to say no, the Packers have nobody who can dominate against the exterior pass defense of the Saints. There is potential for interior pass rush. Now, when it comes to the flip side of that, run blocking, I think the Saints should, in theory, dominate as a run blocking unit against this team. So then I go, all right, so I look talent, offensive line versus defensive line. The only real threat I see is interior pass rush, especially if the Packers use stunts and stuff with Smith and bring him inside against like Nick Easton, who was a backup last year, filling in while our rookie gets acclimated because there was no OTAs, no mini camps.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, buddy, you're starting now.
Yeah, we've got a rookie trying to catch up. So, I mean, that's the only potential that I see. Of course, these are professional football teams, so it can flip. I mean, y'all could come in the front seven, look like the freaking 5'2" Bear Dome Patrol. I don't know what's going to happen, but right now, offensive line, obviously better. And you look at Drew Brees, even at this point of career, what he dominates at, the short intermediate parts of the field and using things like the Yankee concept to open up the middle of the field against a cover three. Yeah, I think that that's where the Saints have an advantage. Corners versus our receivers, your corners are better. Your safeties are better because we're still probably going to miss Michael Thomas. But the scheme, offense versus defense, our scheme should be better. I mean, this has the potential to be a very nice, fun shootout in the Dome with no crowd, so Aaron Rodgers can just play to his heart's content. And an interesting point was actually brought up by Peyton this week where there is no crowd, help from the sidelines is even more prevalent for both teams. Like, coaches can see something and literally yell from the sideline, and you actually hear it now.
You could hear it now, yeah.
Like, you don't need your Mike linebacker being the quarterback of the defense seeing everything. Look, I know Lafleur is not a defensive guy, but Lafleur can see something and be like, whoa, hey, right there. They're about to run this. We saw that in film study, and then that play gets called. And Sean Payton talked about it being a thing. And that it's these little things that have changed this year that have made the game a little bit different. Yeah. But, I mean, offensively, I think even Packers fans will be like, Saints offense better than Packers defense. It's how much can the Packers delay the Saints offense?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I think it's one of those games that I look at, and that's the first thing. You're like, oh, it's going to be a shootout, right? Like, it's going to be like a back and forth. What was that, 2011?
Definitely has the potential.
Yeah. I think it was 2011 when we played. Like, I think we opened up with you guys at Lambeau. I think that was like Randall Cobb's first game. He ran it back.
I think so, because that's also the game that Darren Sproles took like a punt return back, and Mark Ingram got stopped at the 1 yard line. The Saints would have won the game if Mark Ingram scores or not. I mean, it's one of those, like, you hate when your team loses, but it's such a good game. You're like, you know what? It could have gone either way, and I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you didn't lose. You just ran out of time. Like, it's like, I like it. I dig it. Yeah, I'm so happy when I saw that this was the Sunday Night Football game, because I think this is going to be one hell of a game. It's going to be phenomenal.
For sure.
And I'm kind of hoping that Michael Thomas is back. I know that, like, he's just because I know, like, I'm hoping as much as full strength that either of us can get at. Like, I hope Kenny Clark is back. I hope Michael Thomas is back. I hope Devontae Adams, because, he's dealing with a nagging injury. I hope they're all back, because, like, it's one of those things that I don't know how many more times we're going to see this, right? It might be the last time, like you're saying, of seeing, like, Drew Brees versus Aaron Rodgers, unless we meet in the playoffs. So, I want to send it to bed the right way.
I definitely feel that, and I will say that we've had some great games historically. I mean, the last two times y'all have come have both been in the Dome. One of those, Rodgers went out early, and that was a big – I'm trying to remember who came in.
What year was it?
What was that, 2014 Rodgers got hurt in the game and then had to go out, I think.
I'm trying to think of who our backup was. That wasn't Seneca Wallace, was it?
No, it wasn't Wallace. It was I'm just going to pull up the box score because now I want to know.
Yeah.
Like, it's a problem.
I'm trying to think of all the backups.
Okay, so it wasn't 2014 and Rodgers played the whole game that year. That game, he just had a bad game, which is uncharacteristic of Rodgers. Goes back to my point. Rodgers – the 2014 defense, which was one of the worst Saints defenses of all time, Aaron Rodgers has 2 interceptions and 3 sacks. So,
like everyone predicted.
Exactly. But anyway, and there's just one year, a couple years ago, y'all came to the Dome, Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and we managed to win it. Maybe it was 17, I don't remember. But this has been a really nice head-to-head. I think A-Rod is 2-2 versus the Saints, and then the Saints are like 4-2 the past 6 matchups. So it's been a very nice back and forth between the two. So, Brett Hundley.
Oh, I was going to say
A-Rod
Hundley
didn't play that game. He missed, and it was Brett Hundley. Yeah.
Oh, Brett.
He did terrible.
Oh, no. I know. Like, I was going to say I have a Huntley jersey because someone sent it to me as a joke. I was going to say Brett Hundley, but I'm like, I can't. I don't remember the year.
He went 12 for 25 for 87 yards and an interception.
And I feel like that was one of those things. Was that 2018?
17.
Okay. I feel like that was one of the things that, like, slowly and continuously pushed McCarthy out the door, because Huntley was hyped so hard by McCarthy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. When they actually saw the field, they gave him, like, nothing to work with. Like, they gave him, like, no throwing, like, play calls. Like, you say it was like 25 throws. Like, they gave him nothing to work with. They were just like, hand it off, try throwing on third down. Okay, cool. He was bad. He was not a good football player.
Yeah. Shout out Brett Hundley wherever you're at. I mean, you're still better than I am at quarterback.
He was on the Cardinals, I want to say last year, and didn't he lead them back to, like, beat – what was it?
I think he appeared in 3 games, but he only threw the ball like 11 times last year. So.
I want to say he, like, led a comeback against –
But he was in
I think it was
with
Arizona.
the Cardinals last year.
Yeah. So. Go Brett Hundley. That bubble gum chewing son of a gun. Yes.
Oh,
what a great
that rabbit trail we just went down.
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I think it's been some really great matchups between the two. And obviously your first thought is shootout. And if you look at historically, there have been some shootouts between these two teams, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. The only thing I might flip on is you look at the Saints offense and how they are now. They are a team that can score 30, but they'd rather score like 27.
Yeah.
I mean, they have gone more to a traditional West Coast. I mean, back in the day, a decade ago, I would say they were a great mix between an Air Coryell and a West Coast. They could dominate short, but they love to push the field.
Yeah.
The push the field is not near as often. I mean, you might get 2 or 3 shot attempts a game, if that, with the Saints now. So that means they play a slower, more – we're going to beat you by having 13-play drives instead of and a big one that comes to memory, you mentioned Taysom Hill. We played the Ravens the year before Lamar's rookie year, so 2 years ago. And we had like a 15-play, 10-minute drive down to their 1 and then fumbled it. Still won the game, but that's what the play style has kind of evolved to. It was a toss play that gets fumbled of all the things. But, I mean, so when you talk about high scoring, it has the potential for that. But the Saints' offense has also kind of changed to actually being a lot what the Raiders are, what Gruden runs. They want to have long drives that bleed you to death. Because the Saints ran 5 offensive plays in the third quarter Monday night.
Wow.
That is their goal, that's how their defense is good, because they get you out quick and then let the offense run.
And what you just said too, like that also like opens up the door for it to be like a pretty low scoring game where there's not a ton of possessions, because you look at, the first game this year with the Vikings and the Packers, the last 3/4 of that game, it was long, sustained drives that ended in touchdowns. They definitely ended in touchdowns. And the Vikings would go, it would take like 3 plays and they would score a touchdown. And then we would drag it out again and score again. So if you have those two type of style offenses going at each other, like this might be we're only going to see the ball so many times. We just have to score touchdowns every time we do.
Yeah, like, I mean, just looking at, like, since 2006, we've fought 6 times. Saints have gone 4-2, but of those games, one of us scored 34 or more points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 times. So there have been some low-scoring bouts, but there's also been a lot of, like, somebody's going to score a lot of points.
Yeah.
So it's – and I hate that we're riding both sides of the road right now. Like, this could be a shootout, but it could be low-scoring. So, but that's the fun thing about, like, 2 weeks into a season is you truly don't know what these teams are yet. Like, you brought up the Minnesota game. It's hard for me to watch that game and get good analysis for previewing versus the Saints because it's a divisional game.
Yes.
Divisional games are completely different
than
regular. I mean, y'all see each other twice a year. You hate each other. You know each other better than anybody else. Those games are not the same. Like, how you script your first 15 plays against Minnesota are not how you're going to script versus New Orleans.
No.
Because there's more of an unfamiliarity there. What are the Saints going to do if I come out in 3rd and 7 and 5 wide? What are they going to do? I don't know, but I know exactly what the Vikings are going to do.
Yeah.
So it's tough, especially hitting into week 3. Like, these teams really have no idea what each other's going to do yet.
No, I think you're 100% accurate. And I mean, I will say
I try to be. It's my goal.
But we're going to still ride this right down the middle right down the divider, 100%.
This is the best podcast you've ever listened to.
Absolutely. You just be like, listen, Aaron Rodgers could have an MVP season this year. Or according to Deuce, he's not going to try. And then
he's going to be so Jay Cutler. He only throws 25 touchdowns.
Like, that comparison is just like destroying the inside of me now.
But the others I bring it up because we all know Jay Cutler, talented, not near as world class, but lazy as all get out. He would literally throw the ball and walk off the field before the pass is even completed. He would literally just throw it and like, it's incomplete. I'm gone.
When he was on the Dolphins, there was like a viral video that like there was a clip where I think he was supposed to block or something, or he was like lined up as a receiver and like he was just like.
That was just like the sad. Thing. It's one of those you put the sad. And just
I feel like Jay Cutler would be the guy who's like putting out his cigarette while he's in the huddle.
Exactly.
He was I was taking a drag on the sideline.
Look, Jay had the potential to be a very, very good quarterback, but he would just have you really question, like, why did he come out of retirement? Do you really want to play football? Or, like, are you short of money on, like, your Lambo collection? Like, why did you come back into the league? I mean, but it's that same, like, ability to be absent-minded in a game that I see in A-Rod too often, because I just see A-Rod as a guy that in my mind, he does 30, 40 for 350 and 3 TDs every game. Like, I expect that from him every single game. And maybe that's a high expectation. Yeah. But when I see him as talent-wise maybe the best that's ever done it, yeah, I have that expectation. So when he doesn't do that,
he gets raked over the coals.
Yes, he is playing terrible.
Worst QB I've seen.
Doesn't matter if Tyrod Taylor would kill for his stat line. We're really throwing Tyrod under the bus today.
Yeah,
sorry about your lung
Tyrod
buddy.
Right now. He's sitting there and he's just like, guys, like, come on.
Team doctor, like, the dude's got his full gear on. Like, I'm gonna stick you with this big needle. Let me know if it hurts.
Oops, I missed.
It's like, even they're like, well, you never know if you're going to get the location right if you're on the field doing. Like, well, then don't do it on the field. Go in the freaking locker room.
Yeah, like, there's a time and a place to get stabbed with a big needle, and I feel like maybe the field's not the place for that. That's just. And again, listen, I don't work for the NFL. I'm not a team doctor, so maybe that's me speaking out of turn. But like,
I'll say this: like, there's a big problem in the NFL with the team placing their ability and revenue above player health and safety. Yes. And that's even at the NFL level. So I'm not trying to call out Tyrod's team right now.
Yeah.
But the Saints have run into this too. The Saints had a player that was literally practicing on a broken leg, and then somehow they missed it. And the coaches were getting on to him, why are you not doing better? Well, the dude ended up having a broken leg the entire time. And somehow the medical team missed it. So there is a really bad problem among NFL teams where we got to – it's almost like they're playing NFL Blitz, like on the old Xbox or whatever. Like, just get him back on the field.
Get him on in there. That's fine. He's, like, running the wrong way. The helmet's on backwards. He's just like, I got this. We're fine.
He's still better than that guy over there. Yeah, so – it's anyway, back to A-Rod.
So get well soon, Tyrod. That's basically the antithesis of this entire podcast. It's get well soon, Tyrod.
Exactly. And shout out to everybody else we've thrown shade at from two guys who could never make it in the league.
No, definitely not. But Packers call me 100%. But Deuce, it has been an absolute blast talking with you. I feel like we've done something here. What it is?
Still got to give predictions or something, don't we?
Yes.
Don't we? Or do you not do that?
I mean, here's the thing.
Okay.
Like, are you talking about like numerical predictions in which we're just like, it's going to be 27-18? Or are you just talking about who we think is going to win? Because I usually do who the think is going to win.
Like, either. I mean, I just want to know, are we going like stereotypical, you're going to take your home team, I'm going to take my home team?
Because like, so I've done this for 6 years.
It's fun doing that, by the way, because the fans can just go and blast me if you win and be like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's an idiot. Don't ever have him on again.
And all those things he said about Aaron Rodgers are enormously and grotesquely true.
I'm sure please, if you are listening to this podcast, you go put on the iTunes review right now. I agree. Aaron Rodgers is sometimes lazy. Please, for me, I want at least one 5-star review on this podcast that says, yes, A-Rod can be better.
These YouTube comments are going to be brutal, my friend.
Look, I'm used to it because I try to see things contextually. Yeah. And when you see a guy being better than another, you expect better things.
Sure.
You know, I am full on the Josh Allen is not near as good as Bills fans think he is trained. And I take heat for that too. So,
I mean, I'd be careful with them. Like those Mafia don't mess around.
I am worried about them coming and shanking me. I just the next time we play the Bills, I just won't go to the game to cover it. I'll just do it from home.
Yeah, 100%. You're like, I'm just going to cover this one from this.
Yeah, guys, you don't have to worry about my expenses this trip. I'm just going to stay at home with the family. We have some special time think. Or something.
Exactly. Don't you have a game? No, not today.
No.
Not today. No, I don't think it is. Is it Sunday? It is? Okay. I didn't realize it. Okay. All right.
Good thing I'm still in my Saints pajamas. Yeah, so.
I love it. All right. So in that case, yeah, let's do it. Because I find that, like, with predictions, like, it could go either way. Either one.
Oh, here we are again. Middle of the road.
No. I'm not saying about, like, our team's winning or not. No.
I'm saying,
like, I get fans that come on here because, like, again, we play the Lions twice a year. I have Lions fans that are just like, Tom, if we win, something has gone terribly wrong. Like, something went wrong if we're winning that football game. And then I have teams that are just like, oh, we're going to blow you the hell out. Like, I find that there is almost no in between. right? It's either we're going to blow you out of the water or we are going to get blown out of the water, and that's it. So here's what I'll say when it comes to predictions, because I am a very rude person and didn't let you go first, and I realized that while I was saying this sentence.
Oh, wow.
I'm a terrible person. I'm sorry.
Bad host.
Honestly, it's probably the worst.
In the comments, please put a name for new Patcast host.
That's it.
Hashtag new Patcast host.
That's it. That's just throw it. You can't have it without me. You can't. I got this shit trademarked, people. Anyway, so.
Well, you trademarked yours?
I did.
Man, I feel bad.
I did.
Who Dat Confessional is not trademarked. We actually get in trouble because it has the words Who Dat in it, and that has been a trademark controversy for so long. So
you just do it first. It's fine. Just
America. Go back in time. I did it first.
It's fine. I did it. It's fine. It's fine. So Green Bay Packers, I feel like heading into this week, the amazing run game that they had on display on this past Sunday, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
If Devontae doesn't play for some reason, I still think that they're going to win because of what they did with. No. And that's the thing. I promise.
I was waiting for you to stay in the run game part. And you're just like, you know what? Devontae Adams.
Because I was thinking about
Devontae Adams.
There was like 4 games last year where he was out, and it was like the best that the Packers looked all season because they couldn't. They had to spread the ball around so much. So with that run defense, and if Devontae plays, I think they have a really good chance of winning. And if Devontae doesn't play, I still think they have a good chance of winning. I agree with you that it's going to come down to that defense because your running game scares the ever living crap out of me. So if we can stop the run with something, then the Packers will win. If we don't, it's going to be a little bit tighter.
Yeah, that's kind of see it from the opposite end. Like the Saints haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in something like 3.5 years. Like they're dominant against run. Even not going to be mean, but I mean, I would actually have the Raiders running back a little bit higher, but still both of them top. But if we held him to 3 yards a carry on like 27 attempts, it's the same idea. Our front seven has been dominant against the run for 3 years now.
Yeah.
So, I look at my main matchup to watch is Marshawn Lattimore and Adams if he plays. Because Lattimore has a really bad problem of playing down to talent, but then elevating when this guy's top. I got to be on my game. And then he comes up and like shuts down Mike Evans and Julio Jones. But then he'll go and play who's the Raiders receivers again? And then, it looks terrible. So that's the main matchup is the connection from Rodgers to receivers there based on how well the Saints secondary is playing.
So you're saying that Lattimore is lazy. That's what I hear.
No. I full on. I have called him out for 2 years. He is terribly inconsistent. He goes from being the best corner in the NFL analytically to not.
That's poetic, by the way. You're just like, he's got it, and then you don't got it no more.
You don't got it no more. What happened, man? I don't know. But see, he'll even talk about this. He'll talk about himself doing this like in the off season and training camp, and like he would take practices off and stuff. Yeah. And like he's the Allen Iverson of the Saints. Like he will be balls to the wall, the best corner. You see one game like stepping over people, like teabagging them on the sideline. It's Call of Duty Mobile, and then the next week, like a 7th rounder who's never made a catch in his life just caught a 40-yard bomb.
Yeah.
Like, who is this guy? Well, Marshawn's on him. So, come on. So, yes, just like Aaron Rodgers, he has a tendency to
that hurt. You know what? And this is me not doing my homework, and I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I'm going to ask you a question that I should know the answer to. Okay. A couple years back, we traded during the draft with the New Orleans Saints. You gave us a 1st-round pick, which then we would eventually use. And I'm pretty sure we got Darnell Savage with that pick. I can't remember. I know I think defensive line. Who was that person?
You mean Marcus Davenport?
That's the one. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
How has he been doing?
Research team on point.
I meant to ask that too. And I'm like, crap. I thought it was Davenport, but then I was just like, if I say this wrong, it's going to be even worse. So instead, I was just like, who is
this? Name a player we've never had. Like, was it Mario Edwards? Like, no.
Like, wasn't that? I want to ask because it's getting to around that time.
Yeah.
Was he worth that trade?
Yes and no. He has not been healthy. Every year he's been injured. So that's a problem. It's tough to blame that on a player, though.
Sure.
When he's been on the field, and if anybody, if you're curious, because if somebody comes on and says they're a scout, you probably should provide some proof. So if you want, I'll actually send you my scouting report of Marcus Davenport, how I evaluated him, and you can see what I projected him to do years 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Spot on. It's one of my best reports I've ever done. Very proud of myself. Yeah. Brush shoulders off, big the head up. So in terms of disappointment, no. He's projected and developed right where you thought he'd be. And when he's healthy, he's been dominant, especially coming into last year. Problem is health. And right now, he ain't healthy. He has not played yet. So we don't know if we're even going to see him right now because he's had an elbow issue. He's had a plantar fasciitis, which I know y'all probably heard plenty about when Jimmy Graham came to town. It's –
get Dr. Scholes. Come on.
Yeah, ad nauseum. So that's been issues for him. And like I said, it's tough to blame the player, but we don't even know if he's going to play Sunday. If he is, he changes the dynamic of the D-line from a pass rushing standpoint because he makes particularly the twist and stunt game up front is way better. Because you can run it on the opposite side with Sheldon Rankins and Cameron Jordan, and then you can run it with Onyemata and Davenport, and and I think the Packers have a good O-line. Guys like Bakhtiari, best in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Still, having a first-round, high-caliber type talent and athlete like Davenport changes it. I don't even know if he's playing.
Yeah.
So if not, it's going to be a way easier game for the Packers. Just a long-winded answer to your question, no clue if he's playing Sunday. He's currently still listed as injured and not practicing. So
yeah. I want to know that because, I remember staying up, and I think I was streaming that draft, and I literally was just like, man, I can't wait for our pick. And we traded, and I was like, come on, man. But then I saw what we got, and I was like, okay, never mind. We're fine.
Yeah, it was worth it.
Okay. We got another first for that. That was good. Deuce, it's been a pleasure.
Saints win, by the way.
Say again?
Saints win, by the way.
No. I was hoping you'd forget, and we were just going to move on and say it's never going to happen. But you got Saints.
Packers, definitely. I mean, I hate to do the middle of the road. I think both of these teams were high-end playoff teams, so it goes out of the way.
We'll see each other soon.
Yeah, I would be surprised, and if both teams don't look drastically different 3 months from now.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, drastically different.
That already happens regularly from September to December, but now,
But the reason I go Saints, it's very, very rare for them to have back-to-back losses, especially coming off this type of loss. Sean Payton usually gets a special type of fire lit under his butt and comes out like a screaming demon. So only because of that, if we would have won against the Raiders handling Monday Night Football, they're feeling themselves, I probably honestly would flip to the Packers. I just expect that locker room to have just gotten one of the worst chewing outs of their life. What the hell are you guys doing? You're supposed to be Super Bowl champions. It was so bad. Peyton made them spend the night in Vegas so they'd be there the next morning to watch film in Vegas. Wouldn't even let them come home. You're going to watch this game now.
That's kind of phenomenal.
So because of that, there's that extra element that you can never equate to on the field. How does that actually make the team perform? So I'm looking forward to it. I think that is the little extra oomph to make them win against a very, very good opponent. But, yeah, that's all I see.
That's so fascinating, and I feel like we can have another hour conversation on that too. It's those things that, you could be the greatest analyst in the history of the world, right? Mm-hmm. But, those things you literally can't account for.
Yeah, you can't. How does that end up affecting the game? And you just go, we'll see. Who knows?
It's like that momentum argument, right? There's a lot of people who you're either on the momentum train or you're not.
That's that's a comment top, but that's really big in the analytics community. Because analytically, momentum doesn't exist.
Correct.
But you talk to players and you talk to coaches.
Yep.
Momentum is huge.
Yep.
So it's who do I believe? I don't know.
Am I looking at the numbers?
Value only analytics, or because I try to be both. I think there's huge merits to both routes there, and who knows?
Middle of the road again.
Because here's how I put it: if I had to pick one, I'm film first. Analytics is the cliff notes to film. Analytics takes film, and pulls out important data.
Correct.
But you still got to have the film to do it.
Yes.
Now it's relying on how good are the eyes looking at the film. So that's where you can either love PFF or hate PFF, but you're probably not in the middle. You're probably not in the middle.
Yeah, no, that is true. That is, it literally, and that's the thing. That's also I hate too. And you're saying you use both, right? You're looking at the film, you're looking at analytics, because I know plenty of people who just look at analytics and try to create a narrative out of that. And I'm like, no, Like, did you watch the football game? Like, did you watch those snaps? Because like that, like you said,
I'll tell you when I love analytics when it's a large sample size. If we're talking 6 games or a year, oh yeah, I think analytics tell almost the whole story.
Sure.
But if you try to tell me that because my rushing EPA was -5 in this one game that I should never run the ball again, well, no. But there are some things that are great. One of my favorite data samples is they did a long-term, several-year study on play action. Regardless of how good your run game is, play action works. Doesn't matter if you've got the best running game in the NFL or the worst. Still works. Run play action. So there are some analytics I love. And I've had this fun go back and forth with PFF guys because PFF offensive line rating, I abhor. I disdain. I think it's terrible. I think they're bad at their job. But then there's other positions I'm like, these guys nail it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just depends.
Sure.
And that's not, I mean, I have that fun back and forth with them all the time. Yeah. And maybe they get a new offensive line scout, and I'm like, dang, this dude's starting to know his stuff. But, right now I'm like, you got who rated as the best and the worst?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go with Duke Manyweather's opinion over yours. Thank you. So, yeah, it's fun. As long as you can, laugh at it and have good fun with it, that's all that matters.
Agreed. So go and check Deuce out. He has an awesome YouTube channel, runs a great podcast, and it was a lot of fun talking to him. So much so that we recorded for over another hour after we ended this episode talking about football. So I will be dropping that within the next day or two for your enjoyment. There are a lot of really dark jokes, and it's phenomenal. So go and check Deuce out. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy on all social media. See down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.